Hello and welcome back to what I am now dubbing the corner of shame, because it is a corner. I didn't realize my door was open a little, because it is a corner. And we are going to shame people, mostly ourselves. So when I first created my YouTube channel, I had one idea for a video. And that video was my Too Sweet by... I did a whole bit about this in my other video. I literally still cannot say his name. Hosier. If I'm wrong, please don't correct me. So I made a video of that song and essentially how it does not make sense. Homeboy is literally breaking time with that song, okay? So I thought, because I had so much fun making that video, that I wanted to make another one where I made fun of silly, goofy lyrics. Problem was, is I wanted to do another song that I liked instead of a song that I didn't like, because on the one hand, if you do a song that you like, then you're poking fun kind of at yourself. You know what I mean? You're like, this song is good, but it doesn't really make sense. You know what I mean? But when you're doing a song you don't like, then it feels a little bit more malicious. And we're not here to be mean. We're just here to have a good time, babes. This episode is going to start with a definition. Just like every bad TED Talk. And that definition is the definition of the 3 kinds of irony. You have verbal irony, which is when a person says one thing, but means the opposite, aka sarcasm. Then we have situational irony, which is when the opposite of what is expected to happen happens. Then there's dramatic irony, which is when the audience knows something that the characters do not. And I'm reading this off of the front page of Google from blog.readz.com. I just was looking on images. There's a really funny image of a rock and it says nothing is written in stone on the stone to represent situational irony. If it works, it works. So with the definition of irony in your mind, what song do you think we're going to be doing? Hi, and welcome to, if you didn't read the title, welcome to Analyzing Ironic by Alanis Morissette. Now, I uploaded a clip of my recital of me singing You Oughta Know by Alanis Morissette. Fun fact, I was actually gonna sing Ironic first. And then my mother told me that my dad hates that song. And I was like, well, I don't really want a song in my recital that my dad's gonna hate. So I'll just replace it with the other song that I really like, You Oughta Know, her other big song. And I was doing the Jagged Little Pill version anyways, so like, whatever. And come to find out, my mom's the one that doesn't like Ironic. It's my dad who doesn't like You Oughta Know. So I was doomed if I did either song. My mom forgot she didn't like that song. She was telling my dad, she was like, no, you don't like Ironic. He's like, no, you don't like that song. I don't like the other one that's big. And she was like, oh, You Oughta Know. And I was like, oh no. Too late for that. So that's just a funny, goofy little story. And also Alanis Morissette and Renee Rapp singing together at the New Year's Rockin' Eve. What a great way to bring in 2025. One thing that inspired me to do this one is because they already kind of make fun of it in Jagged Little Pill, which is, listen, freshman year me thought it was the greatest musical of all time. Older me realizes it's a mess. As one of my teachers described it, they took every issue that, every social justice warrior on Facebook fights against and tried to shove it into one musical. And it's so messy. It's so messy, but it's such a fun time. But also not. But then the arrangements of the songs are just so good. Do with that info what you will. But how they kind of make fun of this song inspired me to make my own video making fun of this song. Because this song is a bop. Like, let's be real. An old man turned 98. He won the lottery and died the next day. I guess you could say that's situational irony because it's unexpected? But it's not unexpected in an ironic way. It's more unexpected in a shocking way. It's kind of just sad. It's a black fly in your Chardonnay. Not irony, still. Just kind of unfortunate. It's a death row pardon, 2 minutes too late. That one might be irony. Maybe. Is it irony or again just like really bad timing? I don't know. And isn't it ironic? Don't you think? I don't know. That's the thing, Alanis. I don't know. Is it irony? I mean, I think the first and the third one you could make an argument for. The second one definitely isn't. Anyways, it's like rain on your wedding day. That's not irony. Again, that's just not fun. That's not great. Usually, though, if you're having an outdoor wedding, there is a backup plan. It's a free ride when you've already paid. But it's not free. Wait, hold on. This one doesn't make sense. Are you talking like somebody offers you a free ride, but you like already paid for the taxi? So you already paid, and then someone calls you being like, hey, do you need a ride? And you're like, ugh. That's like the only way I can think of this situation working. But then you would be late. So I guess it'd be free, but you'd be late. So that'd also be frustrating. Like, man, you couldn't have offered this to me 5 minutes earlier? Unless I actually know I don't want the free ride because I want to be on time. Like, what's... I don't know, then it's just about priorities. It's the good advice that you just didn't take. That's not irony. That's just stupidity. Or not stupidity, but at the very least stubbornness. And who would have thought? It figures. Moving on. Mr. Play It Safe was afraid to fly. He packed his suitcase. I can sing, I swear. And kissed his kids goodbye. He waited his whole damn life to take that flight. And as the plane crashed down, he thought, well, isn't this nice? Now, in the musical, they argue that it would only be irony if he was like an airplane mechanic. I think this counts as irony because it is a situation where the guy's like, I'm so afraid to fly, and everyone's like, flying is the safest thing you can do. And then, of course, the plane that he gets on is the one that crashes. So I think this one actually might count as irony. Let me know if it still doesn't, but it is like the opposite. Like, I feel like this counts as situational irony. It's definitely not dramatic or verbal, but it feels ironic. Like, oh, of course the one that he gets on is the one that crashes, right? Because he's been afraid of flying his whole life. And then when he goes to do the safest mode of transportation, he becomes a statistic. Well, isn't this nice? And isn't it ironic, don't you think? You're getting a solid maybe for me on that one. You're getting a solid I think so for me on that one. Alanis. And Chrissy, well, it's like rain on your wedding day. It's a free ride when you've already paid. It's good advice that you just didn't take, and who would have thought it figures. Moving on. Well, life is a funny way of sneaking up on you when you think everything's okay and everything's going right. Again, that's not irony. That's just like Murphy's Law. Is Murphy's Law irony? If you don't know, Murphy's Law is the idea that if something can go wrong, it will. So, I think you're more describing Murphy's Law in this song, Alanis, than you are describing irony. And life has a funny way of helping you out. You think everything's gone wrong and everything blows up in your face. Is it helping you out? This one, okay. I guess now you're doing the verbal irony. Because you're like, oh, it's helping you out, right? And that's, I'm assuming, sarcastic. It's gotta be, because then you're like, everything blows up in your face. So you're doing the verbal irony, but life isn't ironic. You're being ironic. What a twist. A traffic jam when you're already late. Not ironic, just not fun. A no smoking sign on your cigarette break. We're gonna put that one in the maybe category. Maybe. It's like 10,000 spoons when all you need is a knife. That's more Murphy's Law, I think, again, you know. The one time I need a knife, I can only find spoons. You know, if something's gonna go wrong, it will. I can't find a knife, right? It's meeting the man of my dreams and then meeting his beautiful wife. Alanis Morissette, you did not write an entire song because you met a guy who was taken. You did not write this whole song because you have a crush on a married man. That's not ironic. That's iconic. Get me out of here. Get me out. That's not ironic, man. Honestly, what a lead-in to the point of the song. Anyways. And isn't it ironic, don't you think? It's not ironic, it's just, I feel for you, man. A little too ironic. And yeah, I really do think it's like praying. Again, and then we go into the chorus. So this one's like not as egregious as Too Sweet because we're not breaking the timeline, but we do have a lack of understanding of literary concepts. So I will say that not every single song is an atrocious, this is definitely not irony thing, but there's definitely a lot here where I'm like, that's not irony. And you tricked a generation into thinking certain things are ironic when they're not. So yeah, and why does my mother not like this song? Mostly because of the plane mechanic line, it bums her out. Which fair, but I'm like, he's not real. There's enough bummer in real life. Why do you need it in your music? Yeah. Let me know if you have any more songs that you think I should analyze in the comments below. This is a short and sweet one, but I would love to do more. I just need ideas. So let me leech off of you. I'm thinking about doing either a Chapel Roan song next or a Renee Rapp song next. So let me know if you'd be interested in either of those. Kind of coming back to the modern era, or the contemporary era, rather. And other than that, if you liked this video, please let me know in the comments below. And if you want to see more of my face, please hit that subscribe button and ding that bell so that you never miss an upload. And as always, please leave a like if you liked it. And if you hated me, be sure to send this video to your enemies. As always, this has been Katie Wren, and I will see you all very soon. Bye-bye.